All right, let's dive in. The real estate world is changing fast. And the brokerage you hang your license with, that can literally make or break your entire career. So the big question is, how are the really successful modern brokerages actually winning? Well, we got a hold of a recruiting presentation from a company called Equity Real Estate. They're one of the fastest growing firms out there. And today, we're going to tear it down piece by piece to figure out what their secret sauce really is.
So their presentation starts with a really fundamental question, one every single agent has to ask themselves. What are your goals? I mean, really, what are you trying to do here? Are you chasing that financial freedom, maybe a better work-life balance, or are you in it for the long haul, trying to build a business that's actually going to last? Everything else we talk about, it all has to be seen through this lens. This is the ultimate measuring stick for any brokerage.
And that, of course, leads us to the core question, right? Which brokerage is going to give you the best shot at actually hitting those goals? Today, we're going to use Equity's model as a case study to see one very specific and, as you're about to see from the numbers, a very effective answer to that big question.
Okay, so before we even get into the how, let's just look at the results. The proof, right? The company says they're in the top 0.5%. That's 0.5% of all brokerages nationwide by production. I mean, that is a huge claim. And you might think, okay, maybe it's just a small elite team cranking out those numbers. But
nope. Check this out. They're doing it with over 3,700 agents. So let's be clear. This is not some tiny boutique firm. We're talking about a model that works at a serious scale. And that kind of scale? It puts them in some pretty elite company,
placing them among the top 15 largest independent brokerages in the whole country. So here's the bottom line before we move on. The model we're about to break down, it's not just a nice idea on a PowerPoint slide. It is working, and it's working at a really, really high level. So how do they do it?
Well, it all starts with the first, and let's be honest, probably the most important piece of the puzzle, the money. Let's dig into how they completely rethink agent commission, the lifeblood of this entire business.
Okay, so look at this. It's a really simple comparison. On one side, you've got the traditional way of doing things, right? You've got your 70/30s, your 80/20s, desk fees, franchise fees, all these little things just chipping away at what you actually earn. But then on the other side, you see their model, and it's radically simple. You keep 100% of your commission. The only thing you ever pay is one single flat fee.
And here's the magic number, $599 per transaction. That's it. Seriously, no percentages, no complicated sliding scales based on how much you sell. For an agent whose income can be all over the place, as you know, this creates a simple, predictable business cost. It means you get to keep the vast, vast majority of every single commission check you earn.
And on top of that, they get rid of another common expense. Your E&O insurance, errors and omissions, which you absolutely have to have, is just included. The presentation puts that at about a $400 a year savings, which just makes the financial picture even simpler for their agents.
Okay, so a great commission plan is awesome, but that only gets you so far, right? In today's market, if you don't have a powerful tech toolkit, you're just not going to be able to compete. So that brings us to their second pillar, the digital advantage.
So, instead of you having to go out and duct tape together a bunch of expensive software on your own, this model gives you a fully integrated tech stack right out of the gate. We're talking everything from lead gen with a top-tier CRM like KV Core, all the way to seamless digital transaction management with Dotloop. It's basically a business in a box for a modern agent.
And just to put a dollar figure on this, they point out that just the KV Core platform alone is worth about $600 a month. Think about that. If you're an independent agent, that's over $7,000 a year in software costs that are just gone, completely covered. All right, so you've got a model that saves you a ton of money and it gives you the tech you need to compete. But what happens when you get stuck? What if you need help or you just want to get better at your job? Well, that brings us to the third pillar, a whole system that's built for your success, and it goes way beyond just closing a deal.
And we're not just talking about some 1-800 help desk number. The focus here is on actually developing you as an agent. You've got elite training, digital marketing courses, even dedicated mentorship for new agents. But that last thing on the list, profit sharing, that's a total game changer. It completely shifts the conversation from just day-to-day support to long-term wealth building.
And yeah, they put a real number on it. Over $12 million paid out to agents through this profit share program. This isn't just some end-of-year bonus. It's a system that basically turns agents into partners. When you help grow the company, you build your own recurring income stream. I mean, it's a brilliant way to make sure everyone's pulling in the same direction.
So the formula, low fees, high-end tech, and real support, it all sounds great on paper. right? But what does it actually feel like for the agents on the ground? Does it work in the real world? Well, the presentation lets the agents themselves answer that. Take this quote from David Adam. It's a perfect head-to-head comparison. He came from one of those big national firms and says he was pleasantly shocked to find better tech and support here for about a quarter of the price. I mean, he's basically saying, yep, those first two pillars, the money and the tech, they absolutely deliver.
Then you've got Gene Atkinson, and he just cuts right to the chase. An extra 45+% more money in his pocket, not the brokerages. It honestly doesn't get any clearer than that. That's the financial model in action, plain and simple, from someone who's living it. And I love this last one from Chantel Doros because it ties everything together. It's not just about the cash or the cool apps, it's about the confidence you get from having that training and technology behind you. This shows how all three pillars, the money, the tech, and the support, they all work together to make the agent feel powerful.
Okay, so we just tore down this one company's model, but what's the bigger picture here? What does this tell us about where the whole real estate industry might be going?
It really seems like the modern value proposition boils down to a formula, doesn't it? It's financial efficiency plus integrated technology plus robust support. The bet they're making is that if you strip away all those old complicated commission splits and replace them with actual tangible value, you'll attract the best agents because you're giving them the straightest possible path to being profitable. And that leaves us with one last big question. In a world where agents have more choices than ever before, what is the most valuable thing a brokerage can offer you today? Is it the 100-year-old brand name in the fancy corner office? Or is it a lean, mean, efficient platform that's just designed to put more tech, more support, and ultimately more money directly into your pocket? That really seems to be the choice the entire industry is facing right now.